Welcome to Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control, helping you navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control Podcast. This is episode number 17. I am here with a good friend of mine, Dylan Von Kleist, who is an airline seat innovator. We'll call him that. He's a vice president of sales and marketing for both Autowash and AMP memberships. So he has a way more impressive title than I do. And we've been friends for a long time. Dylan actually worked for me for about 12 hours one year.
Yeah, it was a really short period of time.
Yeah. So, hey, man, thanks for coming on board. I'm excited to have this conversation. I think it'll be super interesting.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. When you reached out, I was like, oh, yes, I get to talk to Kevin. I love talking to Kevin.
Yeah, it's always a good time. And, you know, we'll keep our making fun of detailers at the minimum on this one, but we'll do our best. So, hey, I've been doing this thing where I kind of ask for the detailing superhero backstory of everybody that comes on board. I kind of started doing that and it kind of stuck. So, you work for Autowash now, but you have this whole we'll call it sorted history in detailing, product development, all that. So give us that background so we can kind of understand who we're talking to.
Yeah, my whole journey starts at 16 years old. I always tell people I had two marketable skill sets to make money. One was mowing lawns, and two was making cars clean. And I did not like mowing lawns. So I mean, I sit where I am now, and my involvement in detailing and all things automotive appearance simply because I hated cutting grass. That was it. Just funny because I really enjoy it now as a middle-aged man.
Yeah, your grass at your house is awesome.
Big into it. Who knew, right? Yeah. Full circle. But so that's really where it started. I started a business with a buddy of mine in high school. We were detailing cars after school on weekends. Trying to make extra cash. That's where a lot of us start in this business, is looking for a way to make money, and low barrier of entry, right? You just got to have a couple of basics and the work ethic, and you can go out and clean cars, and people will pay you for it. And so it started there, and I bounced in and out. I've started and sold off several detailing businesses over the years. I did what I called discreet detailing in a time before Facebook, where I had private collectors who didn't want the kind of the contents of their collection or the location of it known, and so I was respected in certain circles where I would bring in a team and we'd clean up a collection of very rare and collectible cars, but not in the public eye. It'd be a very different idea today without there's no social media at the time. At some point, somebody told me I had to get a real job, and I believed them. And so I've at some points bounced completely out of car care and took, corporate type jobs, suit and tie type jobs, working for companies like Avery Dennison. And I worked for a period of time for DirecTV. They were owned by Hughes at the time. And I always kept doing detailing on weekends. It kept pulling me back in. And I was in one of those phases where I was just doing it as a side hustle and had this kind of corporate job. And a friend that probably most people know, Adam Vitale, who owned Adam's Polishes, he reached out and said, hey, we really need somebody to take on forums, and I need help with product development. And he makes me an offer, which was about half of what I was making at that time, which wasn't an insult. It was just like, here's what I can afford to pay you. And I go to my wife, I told her, and she said, you're miserable to be around in your current employment. If this would make you happy, we'll find a way to make it work. And so that officially launched my transition into the kind of the supplier vendor side. And I worked for Adams for almost a decade, left there as a COO and head of product development, had a cup of coffee over at Surf City Garage. I've consulted for several brands over the years. I landed at Rupes, which was a dream job for the period. I spent 7 years at Rupes, working with just an all-star team there as they broke their way into the U.S. And then I find myself sitting here today because I had a conversation with a Rupes customer, the owners of Autowash, Aaron and Dennis Driesen, also operate a detail center that kind of is the hub and spoke model of this whole car wash thing that we do. And they said, we're really looking for somebody to take our sales and marketing to that next level. We're interested in bringing you on. And so they made an offer. And I've always kind of been aware that the car wash industry has always been interesting to me, like the volume aspect. Anybody who's ever attended training with me, even on the detailing side, I'm more of a volume guy than anything. I think there's nothing wrong in doing quote unquote high-end detailing. I think the correction and coding thing obviously is a boom for everybody. I mean, people have made entire businesses propped up entirely on that. I have just always found that the mass appeal of offering more express detail services is really where there's a lot of money to be made, because there's more of that potential customer. You're lower leverage in terms of your number of appointments. So even in trainings, I was pushing for that type of thing. And car wash is another level of that even, right? That's an even more express type thing. We're touching more cars more frequently. than we can if we're doing a correction and coating. So I kind of landed in a spot where I kind of didn't realize I always needed to be. And so we're having fun washing cars over here. And apparently some detailers think I've gone to the dark side. So.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the dark side. Like, explain what auto wash really is, what you guys do. Because I know a little bit, but I'm interested in myself. I've always been super interested in the car wash side of things because there's a hell of a lot of money to be made in car washes. And I think that's somehow we treat this as the redheaded stepchild of the car care, car appearance industry. And, if you look at the guys that are making bank, they're running car washes, right? So
I've been in here since September of last year, and the deeper into it I get, the more kind of amazed I am at the sophistication of business operations on this level. It is staggering. I think a lot of detailers would benefit from actually just studying kind of the business tactics of car wash. It's fascinating. And then obviously because they are run in the way they're run, there's a ton of private equity and venture capital money that comes in to fund these things. And I think there really is something that the detailing industry can learn from car washes. But to kind of circle back on what you asked, auto wash is it's the car wash that I would go work for. I wouldn't just go work for any car wash. I've been intrigued by their model since I first met the Driesens, and I think they only had a couple of locations at that point. So as we sit here today, we're 20 plus locations throughout Colorado, mostly Denver Metro and up and down the I-25 corridor. But we are a little bit of an industry contrarian. Most of the car washes that people are familiar with are going to be your tunnels, express tunnels, where you got brushes and acids and whatnot. We come at it from a different direction. We have completely touchless washes. We don't use brushes in our washes. We have one location. It's an experimental location that's a brush based, but everything else is touch free. We use no acids, nothing that can harm a car. Our tagline really is because you love your car. That's what we're designed to do. So we're very much different. And so I get where the hate for car wash comes from detailers because, right, they're scratch factories. That's what most people consider when they think of a car wash, is that it's going to go through. These brushes are going to hit the paint. It's going to undo all that hard work the detailer did. Some ways it keeps these guys in business, right? But
yeah,
that's what people picture. We are completely opposite. So no touching. It's proprietary equipment, proprietary formulations. We have self-serve options on site. So people who want to do the pay and spray option. We have dog washes at some of our locations because, especially in Colorado, if you live here, I think they issue you a dog at the border when you drive in.
Yeah, same as here. Yeah, same here, right?
So we have that because if you're going to go take your car off into the mountains and go backpacking for the weekend or whatever and come back down, you're going to clean that car. Well, Fido's probably in the back seat. Might as well be able to pull him out and wash him too. So we have that model. We're 100% unattended sites. We have facilities teams that run around and clean and repair and do that stuff, but it's all basically self-served, and it's driven off of our own proprietary smartphone app, which is the other company you mentioned, AMP Memberships. That is a auto wash company. We developed our own app to run our washes so customers can buy washes and engage with loyalty programs and stuff through that. And then now we white label that product out to other car washes because it really is that good. So that's us in a nutshell. It's been fascinating. This company I've watched from the outside. Now I'm in, just explosive growth. 10 years and get up to 24 locations is really quite something. But to be able to leverage that kind of information and knowledge as I got to learn my way through this car washing thing, and to be so different than every other car wash out there. And then we just recently announced in April, we're actually opening this up to franchising. So what the goal is to go nationwide with this, make auto wash something that could be in every city, every town across the U.S. and maybe internationally at some point.
And for those franchises, is that like a shop in a box? Like I've seen there's other companies out there that literally, excuse me, they have basically this is the car wash. It's in these boxes. It's prefab. It kind of just gets, you buy the land and set it in place. Is that what the plan is? We are car wash in a box. So we handle, site selection, construction, equipment. Even after the wash is open and the franchisee takes possession, we are their supplier for chemical and equipment. We're really low lift in terms of the initial investment required compared to other franchise models. But we basically hand it off as we've got a proven model. We've done this now 20 plus times. We can drop one in, small footprint compared to a long tunnel wash, but we help with every stage along that and hand the keys off to the franchisee, and they effectively run the site. So they're doing the things that our facilities guys would do, change the soap, right, the trashes, all that kind of stuff, say hi to customers as they're coming in.
but we are the backbone of support. We handle their marketing. We have a call center with customer service agents. So customer has an issue. The idea being that it's a seamless experience. A customer could be at a franchised auto wash location or be at a corporately owned auto wash location, and it's going to be the same appearance. It's going to look the same, feel the same, act the same. All the things are the same, and that's the game, right? For the consumer, we want it to seem seamless.
And is it owner operator? Is that like Chick-fil-A has this very specific, very successful franchisee model, which I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yep.
They will not. You can't be an absent owner of a Chick-fil-A, right? Like you have to be there. Is that kind of the model you guys are thinking?
That's the same thing with us. We are, as we're conducting these initial interviews, and again, we only announced this in April, so we're going to be onboarding our first franchisees here before the end of this year. But the concept is, you have to be invested. We want people who actually care about this business, this process, people who get it. If you just, there's plenty of people that would buy this model and then walk away from it because they don't care about cars or car washes. We want people who are actually invested in the idea. Everybody that works with us is our car people. The owners are car people. They started this because there wasn't a better way to do this. So
right.
We're very much that Chick-fil-A style owner operator. You've got to be invested. You got to be on site. We want you to be the face of your franchise location. You should be the person. When there is a human being on site, you should be the face they see. They should know that you're the auto wash guy in whatever city that franchise is. So
that's awesome. Are they describe, like, are these washes, they're not, you said sommaller footprint than tunnel washes. So they pull in, machinery works around the car, then pull out?
Yep, the stationary thing. So we don't do the volume that those tunnel washes do. A typical tunnel wash, the cars are moving all the time, right? So they're
right.
car after car after car after car. They can pump through thousands of cars. We have a limit because we have sites that are 3 to 4 automatic bays. So the car pulls in. If it's the winter, the door's closed, and the machine moves around the car. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we have our self-serve bays. But because it is a 7 to 8 minute process per car to get the type of clean that we want without scratching, using the right chemistry and everything, there's just a time limitation on that. But it does allow us to build a smaller footprint. These tunnels, they're 120, 200 foot long tunnels. Well, to find a piece of land that does that, plus has the room for the vacuums and all the other things that a car wash needs, because we're building on huge footprints. We can go to a lot of places that your typical tunnel wash can't. We function on something that's more similar to like a gas station footprint, not a shopping center footprint.
And do you have to get, like, is there I assume there's, with anything, with a commercial building and stuff, are we looking at like DEQ approval, a minimum, can you drop these things like on an eighth of an acre, quarter acre? What's it?
It really depends on the specific model. It would depend case by case, but half acre, quarter acre, we can work within various footprints and layouts. But we do help with pretty much everything along the way. Like I said, the site selection is a part of it. So if we find a franchisee that wants a location, we're going to probably either already have a piece of dirt in mind for a location, or we're going to help them find the right one. We're going to look at the traffic patterns, the demographics and things like that to know that we want to set them up for success, right? Because if they win, we win. So we don't want to open one up in some place just because they like this corner, but we look at it and go, man, there's just not enough cars to wash in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So every part of that process really is a consultative partnership with the franchisee where we're going to find them a site that they can win with that looks like all the sites that we have won with already. So we know what that looks like. They don't. So we're going to be the knowledge base that helps them get to that point.
Yeah. So I'm in Montana, which we don't have car culture here at all. Like there's just not. We have one or two self-serve things that have the, maybe a little express wash thing on the end of it. But this guy built like a $6 or $7 million car wash over by Costco. Great location, but every time I drive by there, I don't see a lot of I see people at the free vacuums, but I don't see a lot of people going through. So I'm like, is this guy laundering money through this thing? Like, how do you? The math. Yeah, the math didn't seem to work very well. I mean, obviously, you guys are selling. So it's full membership based, or can you go in and we just all app based, right? So you have
app based for everything, but we are app based, but we are either way. You want to pay as you go, so we do loyalty type things, or if you want to be a member. So our standard membership as it sits today is $39.99 a month. That customer gets to wash any car they want on any day they want at any level they want. If they want to do self-serve, they want to do any menu package off of our auto bays, they just have to have their phone with them. That's their membership, their key to membership there, and they show up, they wash. So we have a pretty healthy membership base, but then there are those people that just go, you know what, I don't want to pay the monthly fee. I'm just going to wash the need because, as you know, the weather in Montana is probably just as unpredictable as the weather is here. So there are seasons where a membership makes a ton of sense. The math works out that after 2 washes per month, the membership is paid for itself, right? But then there are people who just aren't, maybe kind of similar to what you're saying, like not a lot of car culture. There's that huge I think every city has that demographic. It's just bigger in areas like ours. And those people go, you know what, if I wash this thing off once a month, I'm happy. We want to deal with that customer too. We don't want to tell them, sorry, you got to have a membership. You got to give us monthly money and wash. There are people who just don't care that much about it, or maybe it's not as big of a priority. So for those people, we just make it available as a pay-per-wash thing. But if they use the app, they get a discount for using the app. We still allow them to swipe a card or drop quarters if they want to, but we're trying to drive everything to that app just because it's more seamless for them. Obviously, the data collection for us is huge because we know when they're washing and how they're washing. But trying to be a little bit of everything to everybody, offering those various levels, let people kind of pick their path along the way.
Right. And I'm asking all these questions because I'm genuinely interested in this.
after this recording's over, we're going to sign you up for a franchise.
Yeah, interview. That's right. Can we get a test interview for my next franchise? I don't know if I have time to be an owner operator though. So, but like how do you come up with a number like $39.99? Is that just, we always talk about, and you and I have talked about in detailing forever. It's like, if you don't know your numbers, right? Like, so you've got chemical costs and labor costs and land costs and all of those things. Is that, and you have to kind of know the percentage, right? You have to know the percentage of people doing memberships versus the daily users.
It's a factor in car washing. What is different too, we also have to consider is how often is that person going to use it? Because if you do this unlimited quote unquote wash, or 1 wash a day, but unlimited wash club, well, how many times a month is that person going to wash? If they wash every day, you're gonna lose money at 30. So we look at a number of factors. There's the industry average, which we are higher. I will say that we consider ourselves a premium. We are unique, and if you value your car enough to understand that you don't want it scratched, then you're willing to pay a premium for that. We offer a premium service. You're buying 7 to 8 minutes of time in our wash bay, so that has value. We don't cut corners on soap. We don't use acids, all that stuff. So we have higher costs than typical car wash in terms of the actual per car wash piece. So there's that. The value the customer perceives is another factor, how often they're going to wash, and then just kind of positioning ourselves against the others. So there's a positioning reality in that we see some tunnel washes go as low as $19.99 a month, and you go, gosh, they're giving washes away. There are several washes that we've seen that open that run the first full month where every wash is free. Just the idea of trying to get the hooks into them. Right. So we're not going to operate that way. From everywhere else I've worked, I love working with premium brands. That's where I want to live. That's where I think that's where the value is. It's not to say that the budget brand isn't a thing and that there's people who want that, but this would be the premium in terms of car washes. We understand our value. We communicate our value to our customers. Those customers who do come on board as either members or just regular loyal users with us understand the value in what we do. So the price point is really never an objection. The people who go, wow, the guy down the street is doing it for $19.99, and you go, well, but they also scratch your car to hell. That guy goes, well, I don't care. I just want a cheap car wash. That's not my customer, and I'm totally okay with that. There are enough cars on this earth that all of us could be washing them for a while. And I don't think we're gonna hit all of them. So
yeah. And I love that idea because you don't think of car wash as a premium product, right? Like that's something that, and obviously as a sales and marketing VP, that's one of your jobs is to get that education. Is that, do you find that that's a market segment that you have to, like I talked to Tom Smith from Buff Bright yesterday. We were talking about Detailer's Helper and his product, the flamethrower and all that. These are like products that you're almost defining your own market for some of these products. Is that something that you're finding with this?
It is a challenge. The biggest piece of education, as I talk to my team and in leadership meetings, we talk about how to attract more customers. And we're fighting a couple of different battles in order to win that customer over. First, we have to convince them that there is a better way to car wash, right? So we have to educate consumers that the current car wash that they're using is damaging their car, and there is a better way. Maybe they're aware that it's causing damage, but they don't know that there's a better way, and they're not willing to wash at home. So this is the compromise they've made in their own life. So we have to explain to them, hey, there's a different way we can do this. Then there is the misconception. So there was a boom in touchless washing years ago, and they were bolted on the side of gas stations.
Oh, there's
everywhere. They're all there. Most of them. They're mostly broken. Most of them don't do a thing for cleaning your car. It just like sprinkles water on it. You drive out with water spots. But that is, so the people who are at least aware of touchless, that is by and large their perception of what a touchless car wash is. It's like, oh yeah, those don't clean very well. We have to explain, no, We have proprietary equipment and formulas, and we are not your typical touchless. We almost need to invent a different name for what we're doing compared to those guys.
It's like a car dishwasher, right? Like I don't
order a car dishwasher.
I don't pre-wash my dishes, but like here they solve that problem by taking a touchless car wash and putting a dude with a scrub brush
broom on it. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if you touch my Jeep right now, I'm going to get out and beat the crap out of you. So I'll just deal with whatever. Yeah, I'll deal with whatever is left over if I do the touchless. But
yeah, so it's a big education piece, as it is with, I think, anytime you have a premium product, or something that's wildly different than what the rest of the industry is doing, you have this hill to climb for you as education. It's educating the consumer. And you can educate them, and some are going to take it and some are not. But our path right now is education. And then it trickles out to the detailing community. Like I've had so many conversations I hinted at, like I got kind of like, people were like, oh, he sold out. He's going to work for the car wash. He's going to work for the dark side. I explained that, no, this is a different thing. Like if you guys had one of these auto washes in your town, you'd be referring business to it, because instead of you taking up floor space with a maintenance wash, instead of doing a correction or a coating or film, you could be referring them to this wash that is completely friendly to the coating or the film that you installed. Customer's happy, and you don't have to waste time on these low ticket items if you don't want to. And that's what we do currently in this market. We have several detailers in this market that go, I don't do maintenance washes anymore. Here's auto wash. And so we're partnering up with these guys and going, hey, you refer people to us, we'll refer people to you. If somebody wants a correction, coating, film, tint, here's our buddies that work with us, and they're feeding customers back to us. Everybody wins. We're getting a steady stream of customers that are being introduced as the proper way to care for your coating is with this touchless wash. This is the most convenient way. And these guys, we validated it. It's coating friendly, blah, blah, blah. And then on the flip side, we have all these customers that are fanatical about their cars, that care enough to use a touchless wash, pay a little bit more for a premium car wash versus the tunnel wash. But they go, well, where do I go for a correction or coating? Do you guys do that? We used to. We actually used to be part of our business model. We said, you know what? We can't run a steakhouse out of the back of a Chipotle anymore. So let's send those to the guys who specialize in that. So it's this very harmonious relationship. And I think when we get these franchises spun up in more cities, I've said before, I'm going to be looking for these detail partners. There's the mentality that you are the only solution in the customer's product life cycle is dead. We've got, like, detailers have to stop thinking that way. Car washes have to stop thinking that way. You are not the be all end all to that customer. I just made the food analogy of a steakhouse in the back of a Chipotle. I would love to be able to eat, a couple $100 tomahawk ribeyes nightly, but it's not realistic. One, my digestive tract is not going to handle it, but two, it's budgetarily not realistic, right? Mm-hmm. So occasionally I run to a Chipotle or wherever I'm going to go get fast casual, I cook at home. There's all these things. Car maintenance isn't, especially appearance care, isn't all that different. There's the occasion where a customer needs a correction, a coating, film, whatever it might be, a more thorough, detailed cleaning. But on the daily, they need something more similar to a car wash. And then occasionally they're going to want to wash at home. So we've got to, like I said, car washes and detailers alike have to park in their brains that you are a part of the appearance care cycle. You are not the only part of the appearance care cycle. You cannot be all things to all people in your customer base. And to try would be an exercise in futility, because you're never going to be the best at any of those if you're dividing attention amongst all of them. You can't wash cars faster than a car wash, and a car wash cannot polish cars. So starting to exist more harmoniously, having a kind of a symbiotic relationship where one feeds the other and vice versa would be beneficial to everybody involved. We just got to get past this adversarial piece. Obviously, we don't want to be referring business to tunnel washes, but as soon as an auto wash is in your neighborhood, you certainly should be referring business to it.
Yeah, I've been harping a lot on maintenance washes as a lead gen and LTV, lifetime customer value, and that kind of thing. Is there a revenue piece? Like, I mean, I assume this would be with individual, if the franchisees are coming to town, individual franchisees, but like we still want to touch that car regularly as a shop that put the coating on. Obviously, you understand that. But is there, like, would there be like an affiliate, like, I'm going to refer this customer, they pay $39 a month, I get $5 a month for each customer, or anything like that?
Not that exact model, but yeah, something like that. There's an exchange of value there as well. Not just exchange of leads, but we want to exchange value and be in an official, because if the handshake deals are fine, but if there's not an official kind of sharing of something, then you kind of miss the mark. So just as an example, in our market here, the guys that we work with, if they have somebody they send to us, we have a couple of different models we're working with where they actually sell the membership as part of their coating package. So this is rolled in. They just go, our coating package is $3,500 for full correction, coating, and this, and it comes with a 1-year membership to auto wash for your maintenance. That doesn't, and then their language generally is it doesn't preclude you from having to come back to us for inspections. We just don't need to see you every week or every month. We'll see you every quarter or every 6 months to do a touch up on the coating, and then back into the auto wash cycle you go. So we're not trying to pull them completely out of that shop, because again, we don't want to be 100% of that care life cycle either. We are the toothbrush, they are the dentist type thing. I'm going to throw as many analogies as I can. Right.
I like it.
But yeah, like, I mean, you don't go to the dentist every morning and every evening for a cleaning. That would be really, really annoying, right? So you brush your teeth, and then every 6 months to a year, you go see the dentist and get the deep clean. That's the detailer car wash relationship we want to see. Detailer auto wash relationship we want to see.
And I like that model, because if I'm saying, okay, so my normal price for coating would be $2,000. We'll just use round numbers, right? And then I know it's $500 a year normally for this auto wash membership. Well, maybe I actually add in $750, right? So I add 25, whatever that is, 20%. And then I'm actually earning profit off of that auto wash membership. But then, they're getting it as the package deal. Plus, you could use it as an upsell. You could use it as, a thank you gift. You can use it as a value add. There's tons of different ways to do it,
Yeah, and I mean, being a solid business owner and a detailed technician and thinking business like, it's all part of that customer interview process, right? We should be. I hope everybody's installing a coating. Ask the question, well, how are you going to maintain this, right? And that should always be a question, because the guy goes, I'm going to run through a car wash. The very next question would be, well, what car wash, right? In our world. And you go, well, I go to this tunnel wash over here. Oh gosh, no, don't do that. If you're paying me thousands of dollars for this coating on, that's going to ruin it. If you still want to use the car wash, here's this place, Auto Wash. They're safe for the coating. It's not going to damage the work I'm doing for you. But if you're going to do that tunnel wash, it's not worth me coating it, correcting it for you, because it's just going to get ruined anyways, right? So it changes from, you've got to come back to me once a month for a maintenance wash, and I'm going to charge you $150. Some customers do want that. They want that level of service. That's fine. Keep doing that. But for that customer who goes, man, I got to come back every couple of months, and you've got to charge me this much to do it. And you go, well, or you can do this, which is this touchless wash system, and it'll clean the car. It will not damage the coating, and you still come see us, but it's going to be less frequent, or whatever it might be. But it's all about finding the product that fits the customer's needs, right? Not find the customer for the product, but find the product for the customer is really the game there.
Yeah. And you've been in the industry long enough to answer this question, but like to me, it seems like there's this like denial level of denial on the detailer, business owner guy or girl that says, I'm going to do this coating. I'm fairly certain that they're never going to go to a car wash, versus like, I know that next week this thing is going through a car wash. So what kind of conversations can I have? Is that something that you are seeing also?
Yeah. I mean, it's again, it goes back to that understanding what the customer is going to do. I mean, last thing any detailer should want is that customer to be disappointed in the result, right? It's great to get, let's throw $2,500 is what you're getting for a correction and coating, right? That's a great one-time value. The customer's not going to only own that car for the rest of their lives, right? But if you don't educate them on what they have to do for maintenance and what their options are, and find a solution for the maintenance of that, or they do say, I'm a car wash guy, and you just say, well, no, screw it, I'm going to send him on his way anyways. He's not going to be happy in a few months when that car looks like hell, the water's not beating, the acids from that car wash and the beating from the brushes have taken every bit of benefit from the correction and coating away. Well, is that guy going to come back to you when he buys another new car? Is he going to bring his wife's SUV? Is he going to refer friends to you? Is he going to? No, he's not going to do those things, right? So it's not just the value in the moment that we have to build as detailers or any business, really. You have to build that recurring, like you said, the lifetime value piece, right? So for us, it's the membership in the car wash side, value of why you would come back. So that's why the wash has to work right the first time. Detailers should be no different. It's obviously a much longer cycle between sales, but it's also a much bigger ticket item. So if you get $2,500 from him once and he loves it because you told him an easy way to take care of it is this auto wash place. You come see me every 3 months for a touch up and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. When he does have a new vehicle to coat, or his wife, he's got the budget for his wife's car, or his buddy asks where to get it done, you want to be the guy who's referred, not the guy who just made some assumptions and he's disappointed. He's not going to come back and, well, maybe he is. Maybe he's going to come back and tell you this car wash ruined it. And then you're in this defensive state that you should have warned him and you didn't, right?
Yeah.
So, selling with the idea that you want to sell the guy again, not collect the check once and see ya, and I hope you never come back again. That's what a smart business owner does. If you want to just make one check on every customer, you're going to eventually run out of customers in a market, and then you're kind of screwed.
Right. And I think, it's almost an education piece too. So I live in Montana. And we have 9 months of winter. You guys have a little less winter than us, but very harsh winters. And you guys use salt on the roads or mag chloride or whatever. And so I've run mine through a touchless before, and I do, a couple of times every winter just to knock off all the crap. I mean, now I have a detail shop in my new shop, but I can do it here, but for the most part, most people just do that. And so when that customer says, hey, I am going to, and you ask us, are you going to have me wash this regularly, or are you going to wash it yourself, or are you whatever, those scenarios.
How do you plan to maintain this? Yeah.
Yeah. And if they go through and they say, look, I'm going to take it through car wash. So given that Auto Wash only has 30 locations now, or 25 or 20, and they're mostly in the Denver area, are we steering them towards a normal touchless and just saying, look, here's these harsh chemicals are going to do this to the top layer. Most of the coatings are base layer, top layer. So, and you are going to lose hydrophobicity. You're going to lose that beading. So we know this is going to happen. So come back to see me every 2 months, and or every 3 months or whatever. We'll inspect it. We can refresh it. All of that. Is that, I'm trying to come up with a way.
Solve the problem for people outside of Denver.
Yeah, to be honest with yourself as a detail business owner, and to be honest with a customer.
Well, step one, everybody listening should just sign up for a franchise. Then you can have your own auto wash in your own neighborhood to take care of this problem. But barring that, no, I honestly, the touchlesses that are out there, the catch on them, you kind of hinted at, is unlike us, they are going to rely on really nasty acids, which depending on your brand of coating, there are some that are incredibly chemical resistant, and then there are those that just shrink and fall away as soon as they get hit with anything harsh. So that's a risk. I honestly, even in the winter months, even though I have access to a touchless wash, honestly, the roads are usually so slappy anyways, I don't bother with the full touchless. I use one of our self-serve bays. And I think every market that's got nasty roads in the winter has, I have yet to find a place that doesn't have pan sprays. California did not have a lot of pan sprays because they don't have stuff on the road. There's not justification. There's a lot more full service car washing in California than there is in Colorado.
And California's DEQ is stupid, but anyway.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that as well. But in your climates where they're not using salt and mag chloride, pan spray is a little bit less available, but you don't need it as badly there. But I would say anybody who's dealing with salt and mag chloride, at a minimum, if you're a detailer and you want to recommend something to your customer, it's easy for them to do between maintenance washes with you or wherever they're doing their maintenance washing. Just having them get through a pan spray. Don't take the brush out and scrub at it. Nobody's telling them to do that. Go in there and use high pressure wash, high pressure rinse, spot free rinse. A pan spray has a decent pan spray has all these options available to you to at least knock the crud down and neutralize that stuff that's sitting on the coating and buy you time until that car can get back to you for whatever maintenance package you have sold that customer. There are customers that will do the washing themselves. Maybe they'll rinseless wash with warm water in their garage if they have that capability. I would guess the average consumer, that is few and far between. People have less and less time. Unless they are super enthusiastic about it, they're probably not going to do that. And if they were that enthusiastic, they probably would have coated the car themselves anyways. So if they came to you, they're doing it because it's a convenience thing. So you got to offer them the most convenient level of service. And if it's just as simple as go hose this thing off after the storms until you get to me for the full wash, maybe that's the solution in a lot of markets.
Yeah, that's interesting. So let's talk more about franchises before I get my application out. And you don't have to give away any trade secrets or, proprietary information. But I'm curious, what's the buy-in? What's the timeline? Those kind of things in terms of what we're looking at. And I want to ask you about the steakhouse with the Chipotle. So,
rough numbers, and this can partially be not by SBA and all that kind of stuff, but need about $1 million in total to get into one of these, which is about 20% of the value of what it actually costs to build it. So it's a bargain buying it at the price you're buying it at. That does not have to be all liquid capital. Some of that could be SBA. So you can take loans out, whatever you got to do, but that's going to be you got to have that kind of money in earnest ready to go in order to be doing business with us. In terms of kind of the development cycle, I mean, it can be years, it could be months. It just depends on where we are trying to open one, what we have available in plans of, dirt and things that we can build on, all those kinds of things. But, and really, if anybody actually has any questions, I'll mention it now before I forget. If you just go to autowashfranchise.com, there's all the information on what makes us unique versus the other car washes and other franchise opportunities. And at the bottom, there's a little FAQ about all the different things that you would need to know. and then you submit a form through there, and then we reach out and start that interview process to see if you're a fit for our business model.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of guessed at 6 or 7 million on this guy that built this thing himself. Are you guys doing the McDonald's way, which you own the dirt, or does the franchisee actually own the dirt also?
Franchisees do not own the dirt, so there's a couple of different ways we can go about doing it, but the franchisee themselves will probably likely not own the dirt.
Okay. Yeah, the McDonald's Corporation is the largest real estate holder of anyone in the world. So that model,
stuff.
yeah, that's it's the real estate's the dirt that makes a difference. And if you're doing these boxes, right, like it's not hard to convert that, pick up the boxes and move it somewhere else.
Exactly. Yep.
At some point,
copy paste. Yep.
That's right. Are you guys building? So are you guys doing? Is everything built on site then and assembled on site? Or are you actually dropping fully? I know there's one particular, I don't know what the name of the company is, but it's one that they kind of bring, like the whole tunnel wash is a compartment. This is a compartment, and they just drop.
Yeah, kind of like build it like an erector set. No, so because we have exclusive rights to the equipment we use, we actually manufacture in-house our own equipment. So we have our own construction crews that we work with. We don't own them, but they're exclusive to us. Chemistry is ours, so the blending and all that stuff. So really, it's the unit is built as a stacked block and whatever might be the structure, and then we slide our equipment into these things. But it is all ours, so we show up and we actually are the ones doing the installation. It's not like we just hand it off and say, "Hey, figure it out, construction company." We are the install, sales, service, all that kind of stuff rolled into one. And because we manufacture actually in the building I'm sitting in now, our new headquarters, all that will be happening here and warehoused here. We basically show up and put our equipment into the structure after the construction piece is done. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's definitely an important piece, because if they don't install it correctly, it's kind of rough. It can be a little rough.
And because we're the only ones with access to it, we're the only ones that know how to set it up and maintain it properly. So
yeah, that's nice. And do you guys make like regular visits and do you have to do regular service visits? I'm assuming that's part of the franchise fee and the
Yep, that's all part of their program. We kind of break it into facilities and service. Facilities is more that light lift. It's the cleaning, it's the wiping stuff down, it's the collecting the change, it's the changing the soaps. Light repair and maintenance and cleaning. That's what a franchisee would do. Is essentially what our facilities team does, making sure the site looks nice and is functional. When there's things that are wrong and it needs, there's a hydraulic lift out or a compressor goes down or something, that then becomes us as the service team, and we come in support of the franchisee to repair equipment, replace equipment, whatever it might require. Washing the volume of cars that we do, especially on a busy day, like anything else, enough things go through it, it's going to break. But because we are the ones that installed it and the ones that make it, we are equipped uniquely to get in there and fix it, troubleshoot it, and get it back up and running as fast as possible. And at the end of the day, if the franchisee is up and operational with all their bays running, then we as the franchisor benefit from them washing more cars. They benefit as washing more cars. So it's a relationship that really is harmonious. We have to keep them up in order for them to be successful, and if they're successful, then we are successful. And that's, you're buying into the idea that auto wash, is a better way to wash a car. We're not just going to hand off a car wash somebody and go, all right, figure it out. It really is. It's about building that network and building that trust with the consumer that they can show up and get a better car wash at an auto wash location.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things. Like, are you guys envisioning kind of melding? And I want to talk a little bit more about like myths and this rift that we have between the two industries and all that. But you made the statement that you don't want a steakhouse behind a Chipotle, but is there a model there that you could see? Let's say that I'm kind of a small detail shop. I'm thinking about buying into a bigger detail shop. I may have I have a location that looks good. I have a customer base that looks good. Would you then sell me a franchise to be able to do a detail, or do you envision kind of bringing those two things together?
I mean, you never say never. The way we've got a very specific aesthetic to the buildings that we're going to be having, and there's nothing's impossible. Let's say that you have a detail shop and the plot of land right next door is perfect based on what we believe in terms of demographic, traffic, all that kind of stuff. Would we bolt it onto the side of your building? Probably not. But would we build it as a freestanding thing next to your detail shop? Absolutely. The weird thing we don't want to muddy is that consistency of experience. The idea that if I jumped in a car in Florida and did a large looping arc all through the United States, and auto washes nationwide, I could go to one in Florida and one in Georgia and then one in the Great Lakes region and one somewhere in the Midwest and one in Colorado, one in California. it would all look the same, feel the same, and have the same level of services offered at them. So it would be kind of weird if we pulled up to one and there's a detail shop hanging off the side of one. We don't want that inconsistency of experience. Next door, and it just turns out it's a separate brand, but it's actually that guy that owns that shop also is the franchisee of this. Certainly, we would have no issue with that guy referring, car wash customers from the auto wash location to his detail shop and vice versa. But we probably never get to a point where we're going to link those together in any physical way, just simply because we want this brand to stand as what it is. Because we're not going to have a detailer that wants to do that in every state or every city.
Right.
And then you start branching off and getting kind of these weird inconsistencies and these exceptions to the rules. And as much as that would be fun and cool in that one region, it might be a little bit of a, well, why don't we do this here? And then we've got to find a guy that fits the mold and all those things. But
right.
Yeah, having that symbiotic relationship between somebody who is operating a detail shop, even in the general vicinity, which is how it is now with the 20 plus locations here, we have detailers all over the Denver metro and up farther north that are just fans of the brand and regular referring or working with us officially in Harmony. And with that amount of locations, the customers in general are within a few miles of a location they can get to fairly conveniently. So it's not like it's, hey, drive to the other side of town for this one-off car wash. It would be, okay, well, any one of these locations in the area is all that same brand. So,
yeah, because I'm thinking about, some of these, detail shops are hard to run, right? And if you're looking for long-term investments and feeders, like that's a perfect circle, right? Like that. Yep. If you own both sides of that same coin, it's going to do, you're going to have a pretty good feeder for each side of that business.
Yep.
So anyway, go to autowashfranchise.com and learn more about that. But
yep.
Talk to me about, we're always big on networking. You and I have networked forever. We have a pretty extensive network throughout the detailing industry, automotive industry, but has that been a real benefit for you to have built this big network, or how, that seems like that would be a bit of a transition.
It's definitely been unusual. We can't count the number of conversations I've had where I've had to kind of, what we're doing here, explain what we do differently and why I left detailing for this, right? Once most of my networking connections in the industry hear it, they go, oh, holy crap, we need 10 of these in my neighborhood. So that's the idea of the franchise, really. That's it right there. We need to be able to kind of copy paste this in other regions. It's been beneficial because honestly, if we're looking for that consumer who actually gives a squirt about what their paint looks like and understands the difference between getting scratched up and not getting scratched up, detailers are the guys who are already talking to a significant portion of that population already, right? They already see the value. The second we announce franchising, my inbox blows up with a whole lot of detailers are going, like, how do I get one, right? So they even understand that this kind of autopilot type car wash thing that is automated without them having to be on site. They can be over here detailing cars, and then they're going to have to invest a little bit of time at the car wash location, is appealing to them because it does that sustainable revenue stream that's a volume-based business versus your boutique kind of craftsman type business, right? You've got both ends and they're feeding each other. In terms of actual car wash customers, I can't say that the networking has helped there because I'm not in those regions yet. I think it will eventually. And it's been interesting, the amount of people that have run into. I've done several trade shows now in the car wash space, and NRCC and SCWA and ICA in Vegas, and these are they pale in scale compared to they're all closer to MTE scale in terms of what we're used to as detailers.
Yeah,
none of them are quite as big as nothing's as big as SEMA. Let's be honest. But ICA in Vegas was big enough. But it was really funny is the number of overlapping conversations I've had at every single one of these shows. There hasn't been a ton of them. I was in our booth for AMP memberships, the app side of the business at the ICA show in Vegas a couple months ago. And this guy does a double take as he's walking past me. He looks strangely familiar, and he does an about face. And he comes back. He goes, "You ran my training class at Rupus." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "What the heck are you doing here?" So we had this long conversation. And then when I was at SCWA, I ran into the usual suspects. Prentice St. Clair was there. I saw Keith Duplessis. There's some overlap in these circles. There just is. We're all taking care of cars to one degree or another, so there's always going to be. So as much as there's this bickering and infighting about car washes versus detailers and they're wrong and no you're wrong, it really is. It's funny. It goes back to what I'm saying. None of us are 100% of that customer's car care appearance life cycle. We are a portion. For every customer, you're a different slice of that pie, but you're just a slice. You may be a bigger slice for some customers and a smaller slice for others, but you are a slice of that overall pie for them. And those chance encounters at these trade shows is kind of proof of that, right? We're all running in these same circles, just not as many of us running in those circles yet. I think as time goes on, if we're successful what we're doing, if I'm successful on this journey of educating consumers about a better way to wash cars, then maybe there is more bleed. Maybe we see more detailers coming over to the car wash side. Maybe we see more car washes start to embrace detailers as a value add and not the enemy. So you just have to kind of look into the crystal ball and see if we can get to that place, how much better it's going to be for everybody. Consumers are going to benefit, but as business owners, operators, employees, and everything, people providing a service to the public, we're going to benefit because, again, we can't do everything perfectly for every customer. You gotta adapt that slice of the pie type mentality and be as good as you can be at capturing as much of that slice as you can.
And is that how you're kind of explaining, do you think it's possible for the detailing industry to embrace a car wash industry? Obviously you and I both, we've talked about this a gajillion times, either by text or in person, some of the ego-driven stuff that we see in the industry, which I think is, hurts everybody. But I'm trying to kind of see this path on how we get detailers to recognize that this is a thing. First of all, it's always going to be a thing. It's actually quite profitable. So you can't judge the business.
There's way more of them than there are of you. Too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, how do we get there? Like, how do we start to? And I assume that's part of your job is to educate consumers, but also to educate detailers.
Yeah, I think it starts there, like it does with everything, right? We have to have these conversations. This conversation you and I are happening. If it even turns the light bulb on for a few people, I think is a win, right? So yeah, we have to educate consumers that there are multiple parts of the care of their car over that life cycle. We have to embrace the idea that we can't be everything to everybody. And then, as solutions, the biggest crux right now for most of the guys I talk to in their market is there's not a solution like what we're offering yet. Or if there is, they're unaware of it, right? And they ask, well, do you know anybody who does what you guys do? Really, we are weird. I'm going to put it out there. We are very unusual in this space. But I can't imagine we stay this way forever. We have a big head start on everybody else, but there are enough people that have seen what we're doing. We have enough raving fans. Small aside, a little bit over a month from now, on the 22nd of July, we are doing one of our many car shows of the year at Coors Field where the Rockies play. We will have somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 cars show up. When is the last time you heard of a car wash putting on a car show, right? It would be almost it's almost oxymoron, right? You go, well, yeah, a bunch of cars are all scratched up and the main sponsor is California Car Duster, right? Haha. But we have enough fans of what we're doing and enough car people who understand the value we do. We put on these shows and people show up, and it's the opposite of what I think car washing is perceived to be in so many other areas. So as what we do, maybe a competitor enters the space and starts doing what we're doing, or maybe the focus of touchless washing starts to at least elevate those touchless washes that are out there and doing a good job in other regions to start getting attention. We will eventually expand. Come hell or high water, Autowash is going nationwide in some period of time. We will be there. But I think as that happens, as these alternatives are available and detailers can embrace it without feeling as if they are lying to themselves, well, yeah, like car washes are good. Well, no, I absolutely agree. There are plenty of car washes out there that will damage a car. Same enemy that I have, right? But eventually there's got to be this point where we reconcile that there is a way to wash a car that isn't a person with a bucket and a mitt and doing this. And car washes have to realize that you're not getting absolute clean like a detailer does. And we're working towards it. When will it happen, Kevin? It's a ways off, my man. It's a ways off.
We'll see if we both. I'm older than you, but we'll see if we both reach retirement age before we see that.
Oh, I got more gray than you now. So
there is a reason that I don't grow a beard. If I go a couple of days, I look like start looking like Santa Claus. I'm too vain to grow a big gray beard. So
I just figure I could have a side hustle being a mall Santa in a few more years. It'll be great.
I like it. Well, your beard is definitely beautiful. So, you're VP of Sales and Marketing. That's been a good bit of what you've done with your career. I think, working for Detailer's Roadmap, we're building awesome websites and doing SEO and all that for detailers, which helps them in terms of lead gen and that kind of thing. What kind of if I'm not a struggling detail shop, but if I'm just any detail shop, what kind of advice do you give to these guys and girls that are running these shops on how to approach sales and marketing? Because we're going after similar customers. Like these are people that own cars, right?
Yep.
So I'm interested in kind of getting your take on the sales and marketing aspect of detailing, because you're in a unique position. Not only that you're great at your job, but you're also dealing with a lot of different factors. And so like one of my goals here is to educate these guys so they can improve their businesses.
I mean, the number one for me, and it has been the same, I mentioned earlier is the same at Rupa's. It was the same at Adams Polish. It's the same everywhere I've worked. Is that, and it's stealing a quote from somebody. If anybody knows who Seth Godin is, the marketing genius. It's
also bald.
Yeah, also bald. He's got a great choice of hairstyle. He wears cooler glasses than I do though. So, but if I'm saying it correctly, it's find the product for your customer, not the customer for your product. You've got people showing up, and I've given this lecture. Anybody who's been to a Rupa's training when I was there over the years probably heard me soapbox on this, was that the correction coding thing is great. And if people are coming to you for that, please keep doing that. Don't stop doing that. Find more of those. But for every customer that comes in and is uneducated about what that actually costs, and then you give them the number and they get sticker shock and they walk away, wouldn't it be better to offer them something that suited them a little bit better? And you would have these very arrogant conversations in these training courses and mixed groups of detailers where it's like, yeah, this guy came in and I told him my price is $4,000, and he said, oh, I only have $1,500 in my budget. So would you rather have the $1,500 or zero? Right? And so I'm not telling you to do the $4,000 service for $1,500. What I'm telling you to do is create a service level that suits that need, because if that customer came in, there's more like them. Don't go all the way to the bottom of the barrel. Don't start doing $50 car washes if that's not your business model, but stretch beyond your standard offering. If you go, I'm only a correction and coding guy, then at least have a small, medium, and large in your correction and coding offerings, not best plus, and super best plus, right? That's not feasible. In certain markets, maybe you can get away with that. If you're dominating the market and every high-end client comes to you, then maybe you're fine living there. But if you are a growing business, or if you're a business that is trying to grow, maybe you're stagnated on that one customer base, by simply just creating that small, medium, large, good, better, best type mentality within your pricing menu, within your service offerings, you're going to attract, or at least retain, some of those people that walk in that walked away turned off by pricing. I'm big on food analogies. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a fat kid inside of a bald.
Oh, I got a strong inner fat kid. I'm sure. I hear you.
But I would tell guys, I said, do you know why they sell a medium popcorn at the movie theater? And they blank look. What does this have to do with detailing? I said, because you walk up and that pimple-faced kid who's making minimum wage is going to wait for you to say, I want the medium, because the medium is always the right size, right? I don't need a little tiny kid size one. I want more than 2 handfuls of popcorn, but I also don't need like a hefty bag size trash bag full of popcorn. That's too much. But as soon as you mention, I'll take the medium, the very first response, and I promise you, if I asked you to say this, you'd say it anyways, he's going to go, well, you get the large for just 50 cents more.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So if your correction and coding package is the large, and that's what customers are showing up for, well, if people show up for your medium, you can try and sell them your large. If they show up for your large and they don't expect to pay the 50 cents more, you can push them to your medium. Having the ability to slide people within these different areas of pricing, these comfort levels for the level of service they're going to get, all great levels of service. That's always what I tell people. These are all premium services. There's premium services with more in this. We do these things that we don't do in this package for this price. Though I've seen too many detailers that are just stuck on this idea that everything we do is this ultra premium service, and if it's not above this certain price, I don't touch it. And you go, well, you can analyze your numbers, but I'm sure there's some way you could find to shave hours out of that package to meet that price point. Because if that guy walked in, again, like I said, there's more people in that market. He's not the only one that has a price point sensitivity right there. Why not try to talk to those people? Try and just stretch one demographic down and one demographic up from where you are. Detailers seem to be very, very honed in on just the idea of this is our premium package. This is the only package we do. And if you don't like it, walk away. And I go, that's just, you got to lead. That's a person in your shop or on the phone. Get something out of them.
Yeah.
Don't let them walk away with nothing. They're going to go to somebody else, and that guy's going to make money. And then you're going to be wondering why that guy's starting to grow and creep in on you when he adds the premium services and catches up with you.
Yeah. Cause I always hear these guys are like, well, we're so busy with our premium stuff that we don't do anything less than whatever the number is, $3,000. I'm like, you need to hire somebody to do the $500 to $1,000 stuff. Like, you know how much money, and they miss, again, it's lifetime customer value, right? That guy that only has a budget of $1,500 for this vehicle, make it a raise next month. And when he gets his new Porsche that he's been dreaming about, maybe he wants to spend $4,000 on that thing, or 15 if he wants a full PPF wrap and, coatings and all that kind of stuff. So definitely don't turn those away. One of the things we really preach with the Details Roadmap website stuff is you have to have your prices on your website. and you have to have multiple packages, and that way when they call, it's like pre-qualification or pre-disqualification, however you want to do it. So yeah, definitely having multiple prices. And everybody I've talked to that's kind of answered that question on this podcast would be like, well, you need to, it's a whole thing. Get to know your customer and what they need, and make sure you sell them what you need. So I like that Seth Godin quote. That's really cool. So
yep.
But so how long till you guys take over the United States?
Oh, I'm working on it. It's Autowash empire wasn't built in a day. If it took us 10 years to get to 20, 23, 24 now, it's been an accelerated growth pattern. It's exponential growth. I think franchise really kind of amplifies that even more, because then we can be opening multiple locations and we can scale much quicker, right? We're not 100% staffing to support the site. We are staffing to support a franchisee who staffs the site, right? So, I would say in the next 10 years, if we don't have an auto wash in every state, I will be surprised.
That's awesome.
I think expansion is going to happen. If I look into my crystal ball, they convinced somebody who is probably one of the biggest sticklers for paint care. It's the only reason I have a career is that I care that paint is defect free and shiny. They can convince me to come work for them in this capacity. There's value there, and that's not to be arrogant on my part. They turned a seasoned hardcore detailer. I was one of those death the car washes type guys at many points in my life. They have converted me, and if they can convert me, I promise you that every market has a demand for this, and every market that has detailers will see the value in this, and we will scale crazy fast once it hits that critical mass thing. We've already pretty much taken over Colorado, so yeah. You're geographically desirable. There's just not enough people there, so we'll have to figure out how to make it work up near you.
I'll find a location. I'll find an investor. We'll make this happen. But and so as you guys grow, the biggest stickler is like operations, and one of my jobs when I was in the corporate world is I actually did new installs for networks, and I had guys over the world, and that's always the hardest part. Is like, hey, I want to spend $50,000 or $1 million or whatever, but how long is it going to take me to build it and all that? So that's the growing pains, and that's exciting that it sounds like it's a small enough company that you can be involved in sales and marketing and operations and planning and strategy and all that.
As I tend to everywhere I go, I end up getting my fingers kind of into every part of the business, which in part because I've seen some stuff and I've been around things in various parts of businesses, and also just because I maintain a level of curiosity. I want to know how everything works. There's probably never a reality where I'm going out to our sites and I'm going to be fixing pumps and things, but I at least want to know, how does it work? I can sell it more effectively if I know how it's put together and how it works. And it's no different than when I sell polishers for Rupas. It's a technical understanding. I have to educate you and explain, and I have to understand from a inside out perspective why it's better, so I can talk about it honestly. I can sell it to people and say, hey, I have the utmost confidence. I know our uptime is this. I know it can clean these type of things. I do know what the limitations are. It can't do this, but it can do that. And so by nature of that, I end up kind of finding my way into operations meetings and all kinds of things just because I want to learn. And that's a ultimate, maybe another tip. Remain curious, people. Don't lose that part. Don't become so arrogant in your position or your ownership of a business that you think you know it all. Stay curious, because I have learned so much in just the few months that I've been in the car wash business by keeping an open mind and letting people educate me versus me trying to educate them. They hired me for a purpose, and I think I've learned just as much from them as they've learned from me in these initial stages of this position. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very much like that. I think Chris, when I went to work for Detailer's Roadmap, after about the first month, he was like, dude, you have to stop. I can't keep up with all this crap that you're asking me and throwing at me. So because it's fun, because I'm actually, involved in the revenue side and the website, but then I'm doing content creation, but then the strategy side is super fun. It's like, I get to kind of run, help run this new business, which is, like me, I love the challenge and learning.
How many businesses are you up to now? 30, 40 different businesses you're running simultaneously?
I have 4 official businesses across 12 or 13 brands. So
there's definitely room for a franchise car wash in there, one of them.
There definitely is. Owner operator, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk one of my kids into putting one in.
What's Michelle up to these days? I mean, she can.
She's trying to make me fat. She keeps baking all this food that's unbelievable. So that's how it goes. But hey, so we're gonna go to autowashfranchise.com for the franchise stuff. Is it just autowash.com for everything else?
autowashcompany.com for our main website, which I'm actually in the middle of rebuilding right now, and there'll be a new website launching soon. But so Autowash CO detailersroadmap.com. That will show you what our current car washes look like, what a customer experience looks like. And then if you are interested in being a franchisee, autowashfranchise.com. And they both link to each other. So you can navigate your way around those and see all kinds of fun stuff.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Dylan. I mean, how cool is it to find a new cool job, at that level, and also stay in your same city, which I know is important for you and your family. And so that's really cool. That's really awesome.
I sometimes I'd just be rather be lucky than good. And I think it's happened to me more than a few times, right place, right time. But
yeah,
hey, I'm having fun.
That's awesome. All right, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you.
Get your one-stop success solution at detailersroadmap.com today.